The sound of Alfred retching into the toilet at 3 in the morning was my alarm clock. Again, I dragged myself out of bed, grabbed the cleaning supplies from under the bathroom sink, and got to work. Vomit splattered across the marble floor, chunks of whatever expensive dinner he'd blown his money on, mixed with what smelled like top-shelf whiskey. The same whiskey I'd watched him drink straight from the bottle, while his 6-year-old daughters ate cereal for dinner because he'd forgotten to grocery shop. My name is Jade, and this is my life now. Has been for the past 4 years, ever since my mom died and my father married Helen, bringing her golden boy son, Alfred, into our house like some kind of conquering hero. "Jade!" Helen's voice cut through the morning air as I finished mopping. "The girls need to be at school in 20 minutes and Alfred's car won't start." I found Emily and Lisa in the kitchen, still in their pyjamas, hair unbrushed. Emily, the bolder of the twins, looked up at me with those big brown eyes that reminded me too much of their absent mother. "Aunt Jade, can you braid my hair like yesterday?" "Of course, sweetheart." I knelt down, working my fingers through her tangled curls. "But we need to hurry, okay?" Lisa tugged at my shirt. "I can't find my backpack. It's in the living room where you left it after homework." I finished Emily's braid and started on Lisa's. "Go brush your teeth, both of you." Helen appeared in the doorway, perfectly dressed in her real estate blazer, coffee mug in hand. "You'll need to take them in my car. Alfred's having car trouble again." Again, the 3rd time this month. I wanted to point out that if Alfred stopped spending money on his weekend gambling trips, maybe he could afford to maintain his BMW. Instead, I nodded. "I'll drop them off after I get them dressed." "Good. Oh, and Jade." Helen paused at the door. "Alfred's friend Albert is coming by later to discuss some business. Make sure the house is presentable." Presentable? As if I hadn't spent every day for 4 years making sure this house looked like something out of a magazine while Alfred treated it like his personal frat house. After I got the girls to school, I came home to find Alfred sprawled on the living room couch, still in yesterday's clothes, scrolling through his phone. Empty beer bottles lined the coffee table next to a pizza box from 2 days ago. "Morning, sunshine," I said, gathering the bottles. "Your friend Albert called. He's coming by at 2. Alfred grunted without looking up. "Yeah, whatever. Can you make sure there's food? Like actual food, not your weird healthy stuff." I stopped mid-reach for the pizza box. "My weird healthy stuff? You know what I mean. Albert's used to eating real meals. Real meals. Like the lasagna I'd made from scratch 3 nights ago that he'd barely touched because he was too busy texting some woman he'd met at a bar. Or the pot roast I'd spent 6 hours preparing last Sunday while he slept off another hangover." "I'll figure something out," I said. The afternoon crawled by. I cleaned, I cooked. I did 3 loads of laundry that included Alfred's clothes mixed in with the girls' school uniforms. When Albert arrived, I served them sandwiches and retreated to the kitchen to give them privacy for whatever business they needed to discuss. That's when I heard it. "Look, man, I need that money," Albert's voice carried from the living room. "You promised me 200 grand by the end of the month." I know, I'm working on it." "Working on it how? Your divorce cleaned you out, your credit cards are maxed, and your dad's not exactly rolling in cash these days." "I'll figure it out. Jade's not going anywhere. She's basically the help at this point." I froze mid-step, a dish towel clutched in my hands. "What do you mean?" Albert asked. "She gave up college to take care of the girls when Sarah left. She cooks, cleans, does everything around here. She doesn't even get paid, just room and board. It's perfect. But she's your stepsister, right?" Alfred laughed, and the sound made my stomach turn. "Barely. My mum married her dad, but it's not like we're real family. She's just convenient. She'll never leave because she's got nowhere else to go. She doesn't even matter. She's just the nanny." The dish towel slipped from my fingers and hit the floor. 4 years. 4 years of sacrificing everything. My scholarship to state, my dreams of landscape architecture, my entire 20s, for a family that saw me as hired help. 4 years of raising Alfred's daughters while he partied and gambled away whatever money he had left. 4 years of being grateful for scraps while living in my own childhood home. I picked up the dish towel with shaking hands and walked quietly to my room, my mother's voice echoing in my memory from the day before she died. There's something in the safe deposit box, sweetheart, for when you're ready to claim yourself. I'd never been ready before, but I was now. The bank smelled like old leather and disappointment. I'd been putting off this visit for over a year, telling myself I wasn't ready, that I had too much to handle at home. The truth was, I'd been scared of what my mother might have left behind, scared of her final words, her final judgment of the daughter who'd let herself become invisible. Box 247, the clerk said, leading me down a narrow hallway lined with metal doors. Take your time. My hands shook as I turned the key. Inside the small metal box sat a manila envelope, thick with papers, and a smaller sealed letter with my name written in my mother's careful handwriting. I opened the letter first. My dearest Jade, if you're reading this, then I'm gone, and you've finally found the courage to open this box. I hope it didn't take you too long. I know what they'll do to you. I know because I see how Davis looks away when Helen speaks, how he chooses peace over protecting his own daughter. I know because I've watched Alfred treat you like staff since the day he moved in, and I've seen you shrink yourself smaller and smaller to avoid conflict. You are not small, Jade. You never were. The account information is in the envelope. $325,000 from the sale of my paintings and investments I made, without your father's knowledge. It's yours, all of it. But when you claim this money, you must also claim yourself. Don't let them make you disappear. All my love. Mom. I had to read it 3 times before the words sank in. $325,000. My mother had been selling her artwork, the landscapes she painted in the garage studio, the portraits she'd sketched of neighbours' children. I'd thought it was just a hobby. The envelope contained bank statements, investment records, and a business license I'd never known existed. Margaret's Art Studio, LLC. My mother had been running a business for years, quietly building something that would outlive her. I drove home in a daze, the papers hidden in my purse like contraband. Alfred's car was gone, probably at another bar, spending money he didn't have. Helen was in the kitchen, sorting through mail. "Where have you been?" she asked without looking up. "The girls get out of school in an hour." I had errands to run. "Well, next time let me know. I had to reschedule a showing because I wasn't sure if you'd be here for pickup." I nodded and headed to my room, closing the door behind me. I pulled out my laptop and logged into the bank website using the information from the envelope. There it was, an account in my name with a balance that made my eyes water. My phone buzzed. A text from Camila, my old roommate from the one semester I'd managed at college before everything fell apart. "Hey stranger, saw your mom's paintings at the gallery downtown. Had no idea she was so talented. How are you holding up?" Gallery downtown. I stared at the text, then quickly typed back. "What gallery? What paintings?" The Morrison Gallery on 5th Street. There's a whole section dedicated to her work. Says the collection was donated by the family. My blood turned to ice. I grabbed my keys and drove straight downtown, leaving Helen to figure out school pickup herself. The Morrison Gallery was small but elegant, with white walls and perfect lighting. I found my mother's section in the back corner. 12 paintings I recognized from her studio, pieces she'd worked on for years. The placard read, "The Margaret Collection, donated by the Warren Summers family in loving memory." Beautiful work, isn't it? A woman in a black dress appeared beside me. "We're so grateful to the family for the donation. These pieces will help fund our youth art program." "Donated?" My voice came out strangled. "Yes, just last month. Such a generous gesture during their time of grief." I walked home instead of driving, needing the time to process what I'd discovered. Helen had donated my mother's paintings without asking me. Paintings that belonged to me, that were part of my inheritance, given away to make the family look charitable. When I got back, Alfred was home, pacing the living room while talking on his phone. "I don't care what it takes, Albert. I need more time." He spotted me and lowered his voice. "Look, I'll call you back." "Where are the girls?" I asked. "Helen picked them up. They're at her mother's for dinner." He studied my face. "You look weird. Everything okay?" "Fine." I headed for the stairs, but his voice stopped me. "Hey, Jade. I know I don't say it enough, but thanks for everything you do around here. For the girls, especially. I know it's not easy." I turned back to look at him. Alfred, with his expensive clothes and his desperate eyes, trying to charm his way out of whatever hole he dug himself into. "You're welcome," I said. That night, after everyone was asleep, I sat at my laptop and transferred the entire $325,000 into a new trust account, untouchable, protected, mine. Then I opened a new document and started typing. Every unpaid hour of childcare, every meal I'd cooked, every time I'd cleaned up Alfred's messes, every sacrifice I'd made while they lived off my labour. My mother was right. It was time to claim myself, and I was going to start by making them pay for every single thing they'd taken from me. I left at dawn. No note, no explanation, no forwarding address. Just my suitcase, my laptop, and the folder containing every document that proved what they'd stolen from me. My phone started ringing before I'd even reached the highway. Alfred's name flashed on the screen. I declined the call and kept driving. Camila opened her apartment door in pajamas, coffee mug in hand, looking exactly like she had in college. Messy bun, oversized t-shirt, and the kind of smile that made everything seem possible. "Holy shit, Jade, you actually did it!" "I actually did it." I dropped my suitcase in her hallway. "Can I crash here for a while?" "Are you kidding? I've been waiting 4 years for this phone call." She pulled me into a hug that smelled like vanilla and freedom. "Tell me everything." We spent the morning at her kitchen table, my documents spread between us like battle plans. Camila had finished law school while I'd been playing unpaid nanny, and her sharp eyes caught details I'd missed. "This is insane," she said, flipping through my calculations. "You've provided over $60,000 worth of childcare alone, not counting the cooking, cleaning, and household management. And they donated my mother's paintings without permission. That's theft, straight up." She made notes on a legal pad. "We need to document everything before they realize you're serious about this." My phone buzzed again. This time it was Helen. "Jade, where are you? The girls are asking for you. This is very irresponsible." I showed Camila the text. She snorted. "Irresponsible, right. Because taking care of their kids for free while they treat you like garbage is the height of responsibility." Should I respond? Not yet. Let them sweat. By noon, I had 17 missed calls and 23 text messages. Alfred, Helen, even my father had joined the chorus of increasingly frantic messages. "Dad, Jade, please call me back. Alfred is very upset." Alfred, "Where the hell are you? I have a meeting with Albert in an hour and the girls need lunch." Helen, "This is childish. Come home immediately." "Look at this," I said, showing Camila the messages. "Not one of them asks if I'm okay, just demands that I come back and fix their problems." "Classic." Camila poured herself more coffee. "So, what's the plan?" "I called Athena Brewer this morning. She's handling my mother's estate. I'm meeting with her at 3 to discuss restructuring the trust." "The estate lawyer? Smart move." My phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize. "Hello? Jade? This is Albert, Alfred's friend." I mouthed Albert to Camila, who raised her eyebrows. "Hi, Albert." "Listen, I don't know what's going on with you and Alfred, but he owes me money, a lot of money, and he's not answering his phone." "I'm sorry, but that's between you and Alfred." Is it? Because he told me you'd help him figure out the payment situation. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. He told you what? That you had access to family money, that you'd help him out of this jam. Albert, I need to go. Wait, Jade. I hung up and stared at Camilla. Alfred promised Albert money he doesn't have, and apparently he told Albert I'd help pay for it. With what money? That's what I'm wondering. Athena Brewer's office was all glass and steel, the kind of place that made you sit up straighter just by walking through the door. She was younger than I'd expected, maybe mid-30s, with sharp cheekbones and sharper suits. Your mother was very specific about her wishes, Athena said, reviewing the trust documents. She wanted to ensure you had complete control over your inheritance. Can we modify the terms, make it so no one else can access anything without my explicit permission? Absolutely. In fact, your mother included provisions for exactly that scenario. She pulled out another folder. She suspected there might be complications after her death. What kind of complications? She was concerned about your step-family's financial stability, particularly Alfred's gambling debts and your father's tendency to avoid conflict. My mother had seen it all coming. Even from her hospital bed, she'd been 3 steps ahead of everyone. There's something else, Athena continued. Your mother recorded a video message to be played when the trust terms are finalised. She insisted it be done in the presence of all family members. A video message? She wanted to make sure her wishes were crystal clear. No room for misinterpretation. I signed the papers with hands that barely shook. By the time I left Athena's office, the trust was locked down tighter than Fort Knox. No one could touch a penny without my signature. My phone had been buzzing non-stop during the meeting. When I finally checked it, there was a voicemail from my father. Jade, I don't know what you did, but Alfred's in trouble. He's afraid. Please call me back. We need to talk. I played the message for Camilla when I got back to her apartment. Afraid? She said. Good. Let him be afraid for once. My dad sounded scared too. Also good. Maybe now he'll realise what happens when you let your daughter get treated like garbage for 4 years. That night I lay on Camilla's couch, listening to the silence. No crying children to comfort. No messes to clean up. No Alfred stumbling in drunk at 3 a.m. For the first time in 4 years, I slept through the night, but I knew this was just the beginning. The calls started at 6 a.m. and didn't stop. I was sitting in Camilla's kitchen, actually enjoying a cup of coffee for the first time in years, when my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Alfred, Helen, Dad, Alfred again, Helen again. A number I didn't recognise that was probably Albert. You're popular this morning, Camilla said, buttering her toast. I'm ignoring all of them. I turned the phone face down. I enrolled in that landscape design course at the community college. Classes start Monday. Jade, that's amazing. And I called Professor Martinez from State. You remember him? He said if I finish the certificate program, he'll help me transfer my credits and get back into the architecture program. Camilla nearly choked on her coffee. You're going back to school? I'm 26, not dead. I've got time to build the life I actually want. My phone buzzed with a text, then another, then 5 more in rapid succession. Alfred, Jade, this isn't funny anymore. The girls are crying. Helen, you're being incredibly selfish. Come home. Dad, please, sweetheart, let's talk about this like adults. Alfred, I know you're reading these. Call me back. Helen, the girls haven't eaten a proper meal in 2 days. Alfred, fine. You want to play games? I'll come find you. I showed the messages to Camilla. She read them and shook her head. 2 days without a proper meal? What exactly were they doing before you came along? Starving? Apparently. I scrolled through more messages. Oh, this is rich. Helen says I'm abandoning my responsibilities to the family. What responsibilities? You're not their employee. Try telling them that. My phone rang. This time it was a number I recognised, Emily and Lisa's school. "Hello, Miss Jade. This is Mrs. Patterson from Riverside Elementary. I'm calling because Emily and Lisa weren't picked up yesterday and they're not in school today. Is everything all right?" My stomach dropped. They weren't picked up. Their father eventually came, but he seemed very stressed, and Emily was quite upset. She kept asking for you. "I'm not living with the family anymore. Their father and grandmother should be handling pickup." "Oh, I see. Well, if you could let them know that the girls need to maintain regular attendance." "Of course. Thank you for calling." I hung up and stared at Camila. Alfred forgot to pick up the girls from school yesterday. Jesus! And they're not in school today. My phone buzzed with a new message from an unknown number. "This is Albert. Your brother owes me $200K. If he doesn't pay by Friday, we're going to have problems. Tell him I'm not playing games." I screenshot the message and sent it to Camilla. "Holy shit," she said. 200,000! How does someone even owe that much money? Gambling debts, probably. Alfred always thought he was smarter than everyone else. Another text came through, this time from Helen. "The girls are asking for you constantly. This is cruel, Jade. They don't understand why you left." That one hit different. I could picture Emily and Lisa, confused and scared, wondering why I'd disappeared without saying goodbye. They didn't deserve to be caught in the middle of this mess. "I need to see them," I said. "Jade, no, that's exactly what they want. The girls didn't do anything wrong. Neither did you. Don't let them guilt you into going back." But the image of Emily and Lisa crying for me was stuck in my head. I grabbed my phone and typed a response to Helen. "I'll come by this afternoon to see the girls, but I'm not staying and I'm not cleaning up anyone's messes." The response came back immediately. "Thank God. Come home, Jade. We can work this out." I said I'd visit, not come home. There's a difference. I drove to the house at 3:00, my hands gripping the steering wheel tighter than necessary. The lawn needed mowing, and there were newspapers scattered across the driveway. In just 3 days, the place was already falling apart. Helen opened the door before I could knock, her usually perfect hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. "Jade, thank goodness, the girls have been... Where are they?" "In the living room, but first we need to talk about..." "No, I'm here to see Emily and Lisa, that's it." I pushed past her and found the twins on the couch, still in their pyjamas, even though it was mid-afternoon. Emily's face lit up when she saw me. "Aunt Jade!" She launched herself into my arms. "Where did you go? We looked everywhere for you." Lisa was right behind her, wrapping her small arms around my waist. "Daddy said you went on a trip, but you didn't say goodbye." My heart cracked a little. "I'm sorry, sweethearts. I should have said goodbye." "Are you coming home now?" Emily asked. "I'm not living here anymore, Em, but that doesn't mean I don't love you." "Why not?" Lisa's voice was small and confused. Before I could answer, Alfred appeared in the doorway. He looked terrible, unshaven, clothes wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. "Jade, we need to talk." "No, we don't." "Yes, we do. This is insane. You can't just disappear and leave us to..." "To what?" "Take care of your own children." "That's not fair." I stood up, gently moving the girls aside. "What's not fair is me giving up 4 years of my life to raise your kids, while you treated me like hired help. I never..." "She's basically the help," I quoted back to him. "She doesn't even matter. She's just the nanny." Alfred's face went white. Behind him, Helen's mouth fell open. "You heard that? I heard everything." I turned back to the girls. "I have to go now, but I'll see you soon, okay?" "Promise?" Emily asked. "Promise." As I headed for the door, I noticed something that made me stop cold. The walls where my mother's paintings used to hang were empty, not just the ones from the gallery, all of them. "Where are the rest of my mother's paintings?" Helen and Alfred exchanged a look. We needed the money, Helen said quietly. You sold them? Just a few more, to help with Alfred's legal fees. I stared at them both, feeling something cold and final settle in my chest. You sold my mother's artwork to pay for Alfred's problems. Jade, please understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. I walked out without another word, my phone already buzzing with Athena's number. It was time to stop playing nice. They sold more of my mother's paintings, I told Athena over the phone, pacing Camilla's living room. Without my permission, again. How many pieces are we talking about? At least 6 that I could see were missing. Maybe more. That's felony theft, Jade. Your mother's artwork was specifically listed in the estate inventory. They had no legal right to sell any of it. What can we do? We can file for immediate asset protection. I'll request a court order freezing all remaining estate property until the trust reading is complete. How long will that take? I can have the paperwork filed by tomorrow morning, but Jade, there's something else we need to discuss. The trust reading needs to happen soon. Your mother's video message was very specific about timing. What do you mean? She wanted it played exactly 6 months after her death. That's next Friday. Next Friday. The same day Albert expected his money from Alfred. Can we do it at the house? If that's what you want, but everyone named in the trust has to be present. Your father, Helen, Alfred, and you. Perfect. Set it up. That evening Camilla and I were making dinner when my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognise. Hello? Is this Jade? The voice was female, tired sounding. Yes. Who is this? This is Sarah, Alfred's ex-wife, Emily and Lisa's mother. I nearly dropped the phone. Sarah had vanished 2 years ago, leaving Alfred with the twins and a pile of divorce papers. No one had heard from her since. Sarah, where are you? I'm in Phoenix. I've been in rehab. I'm clean now, Jade. 6 months sober. That's great, Sarah. Really? I heard you left. Alfred called me, begging me to come get the girls. He says he can't handle them alone. He can't handle them with help either. Sarah laughed, but it sounded hollow. Yeah, that sounds like Alfred. Listen, I want to see my daughters, but I need to know, are they okay? Really okay? They're confused and scared. Alfred forgot to pick them up from school yesterday. Jesus. Okay, I'm flying out tomorrow. Can we meet? I want to hear what's really been going on. We arranged to meet at a coffee shop downtown. After I hung up, Camilla looked at me with raised eyebrows. The plot thickens. No kidding. The next morning I was reviewing estate documents when Camilla burst through the door, her laptop in hand. You need to see this. She opened her laptop and showed me a local news website. The headline read, Local Man Confronted by Creditor at Downtown Restaurant. The article was short, but the accompanying photo made my blood run cold. It showed Alfred backed against a wall outside Romano's Italian, hands raised defensively while a large man in a leather jacket pointed a finger in his face. That's Albert, I said. Read the article. Local resident Alfred Warren was involved in a heated confrontation yesterday evening at Romano's Italian restaurant. Witnesses report that an unidentified man approached Warren during dinner, demanding payment of a substantial debt. The confrontation moved to the parking lot where the man allegedly threatened Warren before leaving. Police were not called to the scene. He's escalating, Camilla said. This Albert guy isn't messing around. My phone buzzed with a text from Helen. Alfred is scared to leave the house. Please come home. We need to discuss this situation like a family. I showed the message to Camilla. She snorted. Now they want to discuss things like a family. Where was that energy for the past 4 years? I'm meeting Sarah in an hour. Want to come? Wouldn't miss it. Sarah looked older than I remembered, thinner, with dark circles under her eyes that spoke of hard-won sobriety. But her smile was genuine when she saw me. Jade, God, you look good, different. Thanks, you look better. I feel better, most days. She ordered coffee with shaking hands. Tell me about my girls. Don't sugarcoat it. I told her everything. The forgotten school pickups, the nights Alfred came home drunk while the twins ate cereal for dinner, the way they'd clung to me like I was their lifeline. I was their primary caregiver for 2 years, I finished. Alfred was barely present even when he was home. Sarah's jaw tightened. And Helen? Helen sees them as Alfred's responsibility. She helps when it's convenient. So you raised my daughters while I was getting my shit together. I love those girls, Sarah. I didn't do it because I had to. I know. They talk about you constantly when Alfred calls. Aunt Jade this, Aunt Jade that. I was honestly a little jealous. You don't need to be jealous. You're their mother. Am I? I left them, Jade. I chose drugs over my own children. But you got clean. You're here now. Sarah wiped her eyes. Alfred wants me to take them back to Phoenix with me. Says he can't handle them anymore. What do you want? I want to be their mother again. But I don't know if I'm ready. And I don't know if they'll forgive me. They're 6 years old, Sarah. They just want to feel safe and loved. Will you help me? I know I don't have the right to ask, but of course I'll help. We spent the next hour making plans. Sarah would stay in town for a few weeks, gradually rebuilding her relationship with the girls. If things went well, she'd consider moving back permanently. As we were leaving, my phone rang. Athena's name flashed on the screen. I have good news and bad news, she said without preamble. The good news is the court granted the asset protection order. Nothing else can be sold from the estate. And the bad news, I just received a call from Alfred's attorney. He's claiming you've illegally seized family assets and demanding access to your mother's trust fund. On what grounds? He's arguing that since you lived in the family home and received room and board, you were essentially paid for your services. Therefore, you have no claim to additional compensation. I felt rage bubble up in my chest. He's claiming room and board in my own childhood home was payment. That's his argument. It won't hold up in court, but it shows how desperate he's getting. Good. Let him be desperate. There's something else, Jade. I did some digging into Alfred's finances. He owes money to more than just Albert. Credit cards, private loans, gambling debts. He's in deep. How deep? Close to $500,000. I hung up and stared at Sarah, who'd been listening to my side of the conversation. $500,000? She asked. Apparently. Jesus, no wonder he wants the girls gone. He's probably planning to run. Not if I have anything to say about it. That afternoon I drove to the courthouse and filed the paperwork myself. By 5 o'clock, Alfred had been served with official notice that he was now considered a tenant in the family home, not an owner. The trust reading was scheduled for Friday at 2 p.m. Alfred had no idea what was coming, but he was about to find out. Friday came faster than I expected. I arrived at the house at exactly 2 p.m., Athena beside me carrying a briefcase and a tablet. Sarah had taken the girls to the park. We'd agreed they didn't need to witness whatever was about to unfold. Helen answered the door, her smile strained and brittle. Jade, I'm so glad you're here. We can finally put this whole misunderstanding behind us. This isn't a misunderstanding, Helen. Alfred appeared behind her, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His expensive shirt was wrinkled, his hair unwashed. Jade, thank God. Look, I know things got heated, but we're family. We can work this out. Where's Dad? Living room, Helen said. He's been waiting for you. My father sat in his usual chair, the one he'd claimed after my mother died, staring at his hands. He looked up when I entered, and I saw something I'd never seen before in his eyes. Fear. Jade, his voice cracked slightly. I'm sorry for all of it. We'll see. Athena set up her tablet on the coffee table and opened her briefcase. Before we begin, I need to confirm that everyone named in the trust is present. Davis, Helen, Alfred and Jade. We're all here, Helen said, settling onto the couch next to Alfred. Can we please just get this over with? This is a formal reading of Margaret's trust, established 6 months before her death and sealed until today. Athena's voice was crisp, professional. The trust contains specific instructions for the distribution of assets, including real estate, investments, and personal property. Alfred leaned forward. How much are we talking about? The total estate value is approximately $850,000, Helen gasped. My father's face went white. 850,000? Alfred's voice cracked. Mum never told us she had that kind of money. Your mother was a very private person about her finances, Athena continued. She also left specific instructions that a video message be played before the distribution terms are read. She tapped the tablet screen, and suddenly my mother's face filled the room. She was sitting in her hospital bed, wearing the blue robe I'd bought her, looking directly into the camera with the same determined expression she'd worn when teaching me to drive or helping me with homework. If you're watching this, then I'm gone, and my daughter has finally found the strength to claim what's hers. My father made a choking sound. Davis, my love, I know you think avoiding conflict is the same as keeping peace, but sometimes peace comes at too high a price. You let them treat our daughter like a servant in her own home, and you said nothing. Dad's shoulders shook. Helen, you moved into my house, rearranged my furniture, and treated my child like an inconvenience. You donated my paintings without permission and convinced yourself it was charity. It was theft. Helen's face flushed red. This is ridiculous. I don't have to listen to... Yes, you do, Athena said firmly. The video must be played in its entirety for the trust to be valid. On screen, my mother continued, Alfred, you took advantage of a young woman's kindness and mistook her love for your children as weakness. You called her the help while she sacrificed her future to raise your daughters. Alfred started to stand. I never said... Sit down, I said quietly. You did say it. I heard you. He sank back onto the couch, his face pale. But this message is really for my daughter. My mother's voice softened. Jade, my beautiful girl, you were born with a spine of fire, but somewhere along the way you forgot how to use it. You gave and gave until there was nothing left of yourself. Tears ran down my cheeks. I'm giving you the tools to rebuild your life. The house is yours. It was always yours. 51% of all assets go to you immediately. The remaining 49% will be held in trust for Emily and Lisa's education, with you as the sole trustee. What? Helen shot to her feet. That's impossible. Davis is her husband. He should inherit. Davis receives a life estate in the house. My mother's voice continued, as if she'd anticipated the objection. He can live there as long as he wishes, but he cannot sell it, mortgage it, or allow anyone else to claim ownership. When he dies, it passes entirely to Jade. And Alfred gets nothing. Helen's voice was shrill. Alfred gets exactly what he gave my daughter. Nothing. The video ended. The room fell silent except for the sound of Alfred's ragged breathing. Athena cleared her throat. The trust also includes specific provisions regarding current occupancy of the property. As of today, Jade has the legal right to determine who lives in the house. You can't kick us out, Helen said. We have nowhere to go. Actually, I can. I stood up, feeling steadier than I had in years. But I won't. Dad can stay as long as he wants. It's his home too. What about us? Alfred's voice was barely a whisper. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. Jade, please, I'm broke. Albert's threatening me. I have nowhere to take the girls. The girls aren't your problem anymore. What do you mean? Sarah's back. She's clean, she's stable, and she wants to be their mother again. I'm petitioning for joint custody, Sarah and me together. Alfred's face crumpled. You can't take my daughters away from me. I'm not taking them. You threw them away the moment you decided I was just the help. Helen turned on my father. Davis, say something. This is insane. Dad looked up at her with tired eyes. What do you want me to say, Helen? That my wife was wrong? That our daughter deserves less than what she gave? She's not even your real daughter. The words hung in the air like poison. Dad stood up slowly. Get out! What? You heard me. Get out of my house, both of you. Davis, you can't be serious. I should have said this 4 years ago. His voice was stronger now. Jade is my daughter. My real daughter. The only real daughter I have. And I let you treat her like garbage because I was too much of a coward to stand up to you. Alfred looked around the room desperately. Jade, I'll pay you back every penny. I'll get clean. You've ruined me. The words exploded out of him. I trusted you. I thought we were family. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing but pity. No, Alfred. You ruined yourself. The next morning I found Alfred loading suitcases into his car while Emily and Lisa watched from the front porch, still in their pyjamas. Daddy, where are we going? Emily asked, her voice small and confused. We're going to stay with Grandma Helen for a while, Alfred said without looking at them. What about Aunt Jade? Aunt Jade doesn't want us here anymore. I stepped out of the house. That's not true, Em. Alfred spun around. Don't. Just don't. Girls, go inside and get dressed. Sarah's coming to take you to breakfast. Mommy's here. Lisa's face lit up. She's been here all week, remember? She's staying at the hotel downtown. As the twins ran inside, Alfred slammed his trunk shut. You're really doing this, taking my kids away. I'm giving them stability, something you never provided. I'm their father. Being a father means more than just DNA, Alfred. It means showing up. It means putting their needs before your own. When's the last time you did that? He didn't answer. Sarah and I filed the custody petition yesterday. Joint custody, with primary residence rotating between us based on what's best for the girls. And what about me? You'll have supervised visitation. Once you prove you can stay sober and employed for 6 consecutive months. Alfred's face crumpled. Jade, please. I know I messed up, but they're all I have left. They were never yours to begin with. You just got lucky that I loved them enough to raise them for you. Helen appeared on the porch, her arms full of boxes. Alfred, hurry up. My mother's expecting us by noon. Where are you going? I asked. Tampa. Helen's mother has a condo there. Alfred threw another suitcase in the car. At least until I figure out what to do about Albert. What about Albert? Helen and Alfred exchanged a look. He's not giving up, Helen said. He showed up at my real estate office yesterday asking questions about family assets. I had to call security. That's not my problem. It will be if he comes after you next, Alfred said. He thinks you have access to family money. I may have mentioned the trust. Ice ran through my veins. You told Albert about my inheritance? I was desperate. He was threatening to break my legs. So you threw me under the bus. I didn't think you'd actually take the money. I stared at him. This man who'd lived in my house, eaten my food, and treated me like hired help for 4 years. Even now, facing the consequences of his own choices, he was trying to make me responsible for his problems. Get out, I said quietly. Jade, get out of my house. Now. After they left, I called Athena. Alfred told his creditor about the trust, I said. This Albert guy might come after me. I'll contact the police and let them know about the potential threat. In the meantime, I think you should know. I did some more digging into Alfred's finances. What did you find? He's been using your mother's credit cards, the ones that were never officially closed after her death. He's racked up about $30,000 in charges over the past 6 months. That's identity theft. Yes, it is. And there's something else. Remember how he claimed you were paid room and board for your services? Yeah. I found records showing he was claiming you as a dependent on his tax returns. He's been getting tax credits for supporting you while you were actually supporting his household. The audacity was breathtaking. Can we prosecute? Absolutely. I'm preparing the paperwork now. That afternoon, Sarah brought the girls back from breakfast. They seemed lighter somehow, more like the children they should have been. "Mommy says we might move to a new house," Emily told me as I braided her hair, "with a pool. How do you feel about that?" "Good, I think, as long as you visit us." "Of course I'll visit, every week if you want." "Promise?" "Promise." Sarah appeared in the doorway. "Can we talk?" We sat on the back porch while the girls played in the yard. "I found an apartment," Sarah said, 2 bedrooms near their school. "I can move in next week." "That's great. I also got a job, part-time at first, but it's a start. Medical billing, something I can do from home when the girls are here." "Sarah, that's amazing. I want to do this right, Jade. I want to be the mother they deserve." "You will be." "I keep thinking about what you said, about them just wanting to feel safe and loved. That's all any kid wants. I was so angry when I left. At Alfred, at myself, at the whole situation. I thought the girls would be better off without me. But you got help. You got clean. That takes incredible strength." "I had to. When I was in rehab, all I could think about was Emily asking me why I was always so sad, and Lisa trying to take care of me when I was too high to function. They were 6 years old, Jade, 6, and they were trying to parent me." Tears ran down her cheeks. "But you're here now. That's what matters. I'll never be able to repay you for what you did, taking care of them when I couldn't. You don't need to repay me. Just love them." That evening, after Sarah took the girls to their new apartment for the night, I sat in my mother's studio, the garage space she'd converted years ago. Her easel was still there, along with half-finished canvases and tubes of dried paint. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "I know where you live. Alfred owes me money and now you're going to pay it." I screenshot the message and forwarded it to Athena, then called the police. But as I sat there surrounded by my mother's artwork, I wasn't scared. I was done being afraid. Alfred had made his choices and now he was facing the consequences. But he'd made one final mistake. He'd tried to drag me down with him. And I wasn't going down without a fight. Albert never showed up. The police found him 3 days later, arrested for assault at a casino downtown. Turns out he had bigger problems than Alfred's debt, like a warrant for armed robbery in Nevada. Alfred's gambling buddy was going to prison for a long time. I was in my mother's studio cleaning paintbrushes and planning my first landscape design project when Athena called with the news. "The fraud charges against Alfred are moving forward," she said. "The DA's office is very interested in the credit card theft and tax fraud. He's looking at serious jail time." "Good. There's something else. Alfred's attorney contacted me this morning. He wants to make a deal." "What kind of deal?" "Full confession and restitution in exchange for a reduced sentence. He's offering to pay back everything he stole, plus interest." "With what money?" "He's broke. Helen's mother died last week, left her a substantial inheritance. Helen's willing to use it to keep Alfred out of prison." I set down the paintbrush. "How substantial?" "Enough to cover the stolen credit card charges, the tax fraud penalties, and your legal fees. About 50,000 total." "And in return?" "Alfred pleads guilty, does community service instead of jail time, and agrees to supervised visitation with the girls only after completing a year of addiction counselling." It was more than I'd expected, more than Alfred deserved. "I'll think about it." That evening Sarah brought the girls over for dinner. We'd been doing this twice a week. Family dinners in the house where I'd grown up, where my mother had painted her dreams on canvas. "Daddy called today," Emily said as I served spaghetti. "He sounded sad." "He is sad, sweetheart, but sometimes people have to be sad before they can get better. Like Mommy was sad before she got better." Sarah reached over and squeezed Emily's hand. "Exactly like that. Will Daddy get better too?" "I hope so," I said, "but that's up to him." After dinner, while the girls played in the living room, Sarah helped me clean dishes. "I heard about the plea deal," she said. "News travels fast. Are you going to take it?" "I don't know. Part of me wants to see him face real consequences. And the other part? The other part remembers that he's still their father, even if he's a terrible one." Sarah nodded. "For what it's worth, I think you should take the deal. Not for Alfred's sake, but for yours. You've spent enough energy on revenge. Maybe it's time to focus on building something new." She was right. I'd gotten what I wanted, my freedom, my inheritance, my life back. Alfred was facing consequences for his actions. The girls were safe and loved. What more did I need? The next morning I called Athena and accepted the deal. 2 weeks later I was painting the guest bedroom when my father appeared in the doorway. Knock, knock. "Hey, Dad, what's up? I wanted to talk to you about something." He stepped into the room, looking nervous. "I've been thinking about what your mother said in that video, about me being a coward." "Dad!" She was right. I was so afraid of conflict that I let Helen and Alfred walk all over you. I let them turn you into a servant in your own home. I set down my paintbrush. "You were grieving. People make mistakes when they're grieving. That's not an excuse. You were grieving too, and you still took care of everyone else." "What are you trying to say?" "I'm trying to say I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself, for fighting back. Your mother would be proud too." Tears stung my eyes. Thanks, Dad." "I also wanted to tell you that I filed for divorce from Helen yesterday." "Dad, you don't have to—" "Yes, I do. I should have done it years ago. She never loved me, Jade. She loved this house and the idea of financial security, but she never loved me." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. I'm not." He smiled, and for the first time in years, it looked genuine. "I'm thinking about selling the real estate business, maybe travelling. Your mother always wanted to see Europe. That sounds wonderful. Want to come with me? We could visit all the places she painted from photographs." The invitation caught me off guard. "I'd love that, but I have the girls to think about, and my business is just getting started. The offer stands, whenever you're ready." That afternoon I was working in the garden when a car pulled into the driveway. Sarah got out with the twins, but there was someone else with them, a woman about my age with kind eyes and a warm smile. "Jade, this is Rebecca," Sarah said. "My sponsor from AA. She's also a family therapist." "Nice to meet you," Rebecca said, shaking my hand. "Sarah's told me so much about you." "All good things, I hope. Very good things. I actually wanted to talk to you about something. I run a non-profit that helps young women aging out of foster care. We're always looking for safe houses, places where girls can stay while they get on their feet." I looked at the house, my house now, with its extra bedrooms and large kitchen. "Tell me more." We spent an hour discussing the program. Rebecca explained how they provided housing, job training, and emotional support for girls who had nowhere else to go. "It's not easy work," she warned. "These girls have been through trauma. They need patience, consistency, and unconditional support." "Sounds familiar," I said, watching Emily and Lisa play in the yard. "The state provides funding for housing and basic needs. You'd be compensated for your time and expenses. It's not about the money. I know. That's why I think you'd be perfect for this." That night I sat in my mother's studio, surrounded by her paintings and my own sketches for the landscape business I was building. The house felt different now, not like a prison, but like a sanctuary, a place where broken things could be healed. I picked up my phone and scrolled through my messages. There was one from Alfred, sent from Helen's phone. "I know you'll probably delete this without reading it, but I wanted to say thank you for taking the deal, for giving me a chance to get better. I don't deserve your kindness, but I'm grateful for it." I stared at the message for a long time, then deleted it without responding. Some things didn't need an answer. I opened my laptop and started typing an email to Rebecca, accepting her offer to turn part of my house into a safe haven for girls who needed a second chance. My mother's voice echoed in my memory. "You were born with a spine of fire. Use it wisely." I was finally learning how. The house that had once felt like a cage was becoming something new, a place where young women could rebuild their lives, where Emily and Lisa could grow up surrounded by love, where my father could heal from years of choosing the wrong battles, and where I could finally be the person my mother had raised me to be, strong, independent, unafraid, free.